Eyewitness News presents Newsmakers with your hosts, Jayne Ann Bugda and Andy Mahalchik.
Hello and welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Jayne Ann Bugda. The Military and Veterans Resource Center at Bloomsburg University plays an important role for students easing the transition from military to college life. We'll learn more about the Military Center and their one-of-a-kind programs. I'll introduce you to my guests, and our conversation begins when this edition of Newsmakers returns right after this. Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Jayne Ann Bugda. If you're a regular viewer of Eyewitness News and you watch our Veterans Views or our Veterans Voices segments, you often hear us talk about helping veterans getting back into life, getting back into college, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about a specific programs at the campus of Bloomsburg University, one-of-a-kind programs, and joining me today to talk about that, Bob Heckrote, the Assistant Director of Military Enrollment, and Jared Stump, who's a senior political science major at Bloomsburg University. Thank you both for being here today. I know we have featured the Military Center at Bloomsburg University in our Veterans Voices hour-long program, and we've had you on Veterans Views. So it's very interesting, and it's a very program for veterans and for people that are looking maybe to take a different path in life, a new career in life. So let's start by just giving us a little bit about the history of the Military Center.
Absolutely, thank you. So we started up our efforts specifically for the military in 2013. It had some humble beginnings, kind of cobbling a couple of different areas together. It originated from the administration. The administration said we want to work a little bit harder to take care of military members here at Bloomsburg University. And that's kind of where I entered the picture. I started on as a graduate assistant and just kind of fell in love with it, took it over. And over the years, we've grown and we've come up with all sorts of different programs and initiatives, just trying to take care of our military students.
And I think it's interesting because your staff is made up of military personnel. So tell us, first of all, both of you, tell us a little bit, Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I joined the Army, the National Guard, when I turned 18 type of deal. And then went off to Iraq pretty quickly after that. When I came back from Iraq, I went to Bloomsburg University for psychology and sociology. And then had to stop my studies for my second deployment. I went to Afghanistan for my second deployment. And then I came back and finished off my psych and soc degree. And then I went to grad school at Bloom again started out as school counseling, and then I finished off as college student affairs. Along the way, I got medically retired from the military. And now, of course, I've been running the military office for quite a few years, and now, to boot, I'm also in a doc program.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. Jared?
So I enlisted right out of high school as well. That was in 2015, and in 2016, I deployed in support of Operation Inherent Resolve to Insular Turkey. I went through the rest of my military career, and I got out in 2019. And I needed some help along the way, but I decided to go to Bloomsburg University, and I've been a part of just about every student veteran program that the school has provided and that the student organizations have provided, and it has been absolutely life-changing. It has been wonderful every step of the way.
So first I want to thank you both for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to ask you, when you're there at the Military Center, is there a common question you hear from people that are in the military or veterans that come to you when they're starting a new career path?
Well, yes, a lot of it has to do with generally getting the process started. When you come out of the military, they do give you some semblance of an idea of how you can go about using your benefits or maybe what benefits that you're eligible for. But it really kind of comes down on the back end and what we do in the military office to help you navigate the system and navigate the VA in order to actually utilize those benefits.
And many colleges and universities do have military resources on campus, but your office at Bloomsburg University is different. What makes it different?
We were talking about that earlier, and I was saying how I was like, oh yeah, I want to talk about all sorts of different things, but I really think it's important that for Jared as a student to kind of share from your point of view, what makes it different from your experience.
So I've had the benefit of experiencing our military office on both sides, and then going to different schools and seeing what their military offices provide, and it's in no small part the fact that we have a litany of experiences that kind of comprise our ranks in the military office. Not only do we have people who have served, we've got people who are currently serving, and we have dependents of people who have served. Inside of all of those things are a range of different experiences, from combat veterans to non-combat veterans, disabled and non-disabled veterans, and any mix of any of that. And while we have a very strong program as far as what our office actually does from the 9 to 5, we're just very good at our job. It also helps to have that wide variety of experiences, because there's a lot of questions that we get that that isn't in the job description. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, have you gone through this? Or hey, where can I go and utilize this? Or can I talk to somebody? I need help. And we get those more often than not. And I can't tell you how many times I've looked to one of my friends or one of my coworkers and said, hey, I know maybe you've gone through this, can you help this person?
Mm-hmm. And to expand on that, some of the more specific elements that we use in order to help us best take care of our military students is we're different on the national landscape in that we offer academic advisement specifically for our military students. Many different resource centers out there that are taking care of military members, they have a coordinator in charge. And, not there's anything wrong, but, they do programming. They say, okay, it's Veterans Day, let's go do an event. And then, maybe do a guest speaker, that type of stuff. We do those programs as well, but right from the very beginning, we assign a secondary academic advisor to all of our military students, in addition to their faculty academic advisor, in order to make sure that they have the proper amount of support, because being a military student, it's different than being a traditional student.
And your staff is mainly made up of military personnel who understand, I guess, everybody's needs, whether whether you're coming out of service, or maybe coming down the line, or saying that I've been out for a while, maybe I want to take a turn and come back to school. So we're not just talking about people that are just like right out of the military. You have people on that we were talking about earlier that come to you that have been out of school, out of service for some time, and are now looking to take a challenge. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Our oldest degree-seeking student is 81 years old. And
that's amazing.
Exactly. I love. He's degree seeking. He's not just taking classes for the heck of it. He's taking classes because he's trying to earn his degree. And just that in and of itself, that type of student is starkly different than the needs and the motivations and the work ethic of more traditional age students. Now, of course, that's an extreme example. The what makes military students a little bit different than many other students is sometimes it's very small differences. They may have gone to basic training prior to starting their education, and they're only just a little bit age-wise different. But then, of course, you've got the whole gamut between a couple of months different to 81 years old.
Right.
And there's also many times there's more life responsibilities. Let's say they're married. Let's say they have a mortgage, or they need to have a job in order to afford the rest of what's going on. And the active duty folk who are leaving active duty, going to school, many times that's a bit of a transition because all day, every day you're doing military, and then all of a sudden it stops and it goes away. And then now all of a sudden you're on the same playing field as as an 18-year-old, where a couple of months ago you were the top dog in charge of 30, 40, 100 people. Everyone listened when you talked. We have one gentleman in the resource center now that he actually was my platoon sergeant for my second deployment, and now the roles are reversed. Where I'm his academic advisor, but in Afghanistan he was my platoon sergeant, and it's very strange for those type of situations to go from being in charge and being an expert in your craft to all of a sudden now you're the student again. And it can be difficult.
Now, do you have a lot of students on campus? How many military or veteran students are currently on campus?
Yeah, we have about 340 military-connected students this semester. It's important that we define our military students as current and former service members, military spouse and dependents who are using benefits, and we're unique on the national landscape in that we include ROTC in all that we do. The cadets, they're working on becoming, military officers, leaders, and we want to essentially, tuck them under the wing and help them learn directly from, many current and former military members. And we feel that that's been a tremendous relationship. We really like partnering with ROTC because we want to help out the cadets.
And you were telling me that you're a political science major.
Yes, ma'am.
And this isn't where it ends. This has, you want to go further.
Yeah, absolutely. The benefit that Bloomsburg has that I've not remotely seen anywhere else is our MAC-RB program. The Military Academic Credit Review Board has taken my military experience and has translated it into college credits. And for me in particular, that was incredibly helpful. I am going to have a year taken off of my time at Bloomsburg, which, while I love Bloomsburg, is going to help me achieve further goals, like eventually going to law school. And that is a truly life-changing ability to have, and an incredible opportunity to provide potential students and current students who are veterans and maybe help them catch up. Because, as Bob had mentioned, you are older when you're starting your college career, and your peers who are in your same age bracket are already out generally performing. This kind of helps you speed that process up and helps you transition back, but not only back into society, but potentially back into where your skill set and your age group intersect.
Now tell me, let's talk about the program. It's called the it's the Military Academic Credit Review Board. It's the RB program. RB program.
Yep.
Okay, so when someone's coming into you and they say, I want to try this program, what is it about? This is one of the only type of programs that's available at Bloomsburg.
Yeah, so it it's based in I can get all nerd on you, but it's based in prior learning assessment, experiential learning, where you're essentially taking education and experience and training outside of the traditional classroom, and you're recognizing it via credits. What I mean by that is, a good example is, let's say, I was an NCO, I was a sergeant in the military, and I did a lot of communication and leadership and different things like that, and I was trained to do so. And so then I go to school through Bloomsburg with the MAC-RB, and the MAC-RB can recognize that yes, okay, I already have been trained and passed how to communicate or how to do leadership or different things like that. And so what we do is we take military documentation, which is given to us through official channels, just like official transcripts from high school or from a transfer student, and we translate that into college level credit. There's no cost. This burden of the translation is more so on employees than students. And there's no cap on credits either. You can use those credits toward your major, toward general education, toward your free electives, and you can use it at grad school as well.
Oh wow! Okay,
so we're able to find a lot of credits that otherwise aren't recognized through traditional transfer processes, and the savings are tremendous. Not only are we telling our military members, hey, we appreciate your service, it's valuable, it's worth something, but we're also saying we respect your benefits. We don't want you to run out of benefits. To either give you the leverage to explore more, throw on a second major, or a couple of minors or something like that, or like your case, to go on to law school. You know, the having the GI Bill available to pay for law school, even if it's just a portion, is a huge savings.
Yes.
And you know, we've had some students that are getting, you know, just a couple of credits, but we've also had a handful of students that are getting upwards of 30 credits.
Oh, so wow, yeah, that.
And 30 credits that wouldn't have been recognized otherwise.
And for you, it took a whole year off, so that's very impressive.
Absolutely. That year of GI Bill that I'll be saving is quite literally tens of thousands of dollars that I'll be able to use going forward for law school. And that's, again, like it is a life-changing amount of benefits to it. I can't actually encompass in words how wonderful that can be, especially for a student who may be coming from simpler means or from someone whose family has no history going to higher education. It truly is just absolutely incredible.
So, you know, take us through the process. How should somebody that's in the military, how should they begin this process? If somebody's at home watching and saying, you've inspired me, I want to take that step now. Is there a checklist? What do they need to do?
On our website, we have all sorts of information. We have checklists, and we have you know, a lot of guiding information. Of course, the easiest way is shoot us an email. You know, give us a phone call. But beyond that, I think that you know, your example of your fellow Marine might be a decent example to share.
Absolutely. So, funny enough, a gentleman who I served with showed interest in coming to Bloomsburg, and he got in contact with me. And this has been within the last week. And I told him, I was like, hey, we're going to need a few things from you. Send your discharge paperwork and your certificate of eligibility to our military office, and we can pretty much take the ball from there. As I mentioned earlier, generally speaking, the hardest step is the first one, and Bloomsburg does a wonderful job of helping to facilitate that first step. You know, in this case, it was my buddy who knew I went to Bloomsburg, and he reached out to me, and I was able to help him out. And I had a similar situation happen when I went to Bloomsburg. I had a friend of mine bring me to the campus, and that little help that I got then has absolutely changed my life, and we kind of pride ourselves in helping with that first step and every step.
And I imagine too, and I know you're with the student union, student resources, and social life has to be different for military. Some of you are a little older. May not want to mix and mingle. You may want to mingle with the other students, but it's a different group of students. And now you have people there that are, you know, similar backgrounds, similar experiences. How about social life with students on campus?
It has been wonderful from day one. Bloomsburg has a program for, you know, transitioning veterans, and the Military and Veterans Learning Community is what we call it. And before I was even off of active duty, I was getting phone calls from my mentor, and she was just kind of checking in, seeing how the process was going. And they really helped facilitate my first group of friends at Bloomsburg, which is the other military students that came out around the same time, or were going back to college, or for whatever reason were coming to Bloomsburg. And you know, in no small part, Bob helped us out with that. And there have been, you know, good and bad times, but I can honestly say that the faculty and the staff at Bloomsburg have been wonderful. The students have been great. Definitely was helpful to have other veterans to connect with as soon as I got to Bloomsburg. And it really did help kind of normalize me and get back into the mindset of being a civilian. And that is also a program that I have not seen anywhere else.
So we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. You're watching Newsmakers, and you can find information on today's program on pahomepage.com or the Newsmakers link. And you are watching Newsmakers, a proud recipient of 3 Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasting Awards for Excellence in Public Affairs Programming and a Keystone State Award for Best Talk Show. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Newsmakers. Jayne Ann Bugda, and our topic today is the Military and Veterans Resource Center at Bloomsburg University. They call it the Military Center, and I'm joined by Bob Heckrote. He's the Assistant Director of Military Enrollment, and Jared Stump. He's a senior and political science major at Bloomsburg University, and a very interesting information that we're learning today for any veteran or someone that's in the military, even family members who may be interested in it, going to college and finding a new career path. And I do want to ask you about this. Bloomsburg recently gave a 1,000 credit hour to a veteran. Tell me about that.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and quantify that.
Yeah.
You know, our administrators probably don't want me to say how much that saves.
Yeah, I was gonna. Anybody that goes to college is like
exactly. So that's through the MACRB, the Military Academic Credit Review Board, and that's our program that is unique to Bloomsburg. We created it in-house. Took us 3.5 years to research and develop it. And it's just finding credits that otherwise wouldn't have been acknowledged from military members' trainings and experience and rank and deployments and all that goes into to a military member. We work to translate that into college level credit.
And is there a lot of assistance available for state and federal for veterans?
Yes, of course it depends a lot on your level of service. Those who are fresh in the National Guard, the reserves, different things like that. Their benefits are a little bit different. You know, the different branches and components. You know, the strongest for us at Bloomsburg University is probably the National Guard, the Army and Air Force National Guard. They have the state benefit known as Educational Assistance Program that pays 100% of our in-state tuition. And you know, we charge all of our military members in-state tuition per their status as a military member. And then beyond that, you've got different chapters of the GI Bill. You've got for National Guard and Reservists, you've got Chapter 1606, which is, you know, a little right around $400 a month to go to school to help them live and help them get through. Then you got folk like Jared that if you do 3 years or more of active duty, you get the post 9/11 GI Bill.
Oh, okay.
The post 9/11 GI Bill pays for 100% of our tuition and fees, and it gives quite a bit a month for every full month.
A very healthy living stipend.
Yes, it's a decent amount.
And this is wonderful to know because, you know, I'm sure there are some people out there that don't realize that this is available to them.
Gosh, yeah.
And I think it's wonderful, and we'll have this on our website on pahomepage.com. I do want to touch a little bit on, do you help students who maybe, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder is common for our people who have served. How do you help those who may be having some concerns?
So one small way of that we can help is with normalizing it. You know, understanding that you are not less than. You do not have to, you know, be strong and shoulder it and stay quiet. You know, it is a normal reaction to an abnormal event, you know, or events. And you know, just that in of itself, the people, our employees, our staff, our fellow students, our peer mentors, you know, helping military members see that, you know, I'm not weird or damaged or broken. Beyond that, of course, we have more formal resources. You know, on campus, we have our counseling center. You know, we don't just say go to the counseling center. We'll go with our military students to the counseling center if that's appropriate. We also have we recently started working with the Cohen's Veterans Network through University of Pennsylvania. They do a lot of telehealth work. It's free, you know, no cost to the military members. And they do it for military spouses. They do it for military dependents. They even do it for ROTC cadets as well.
Oh, wow.
And you know, I vetted them. You know, I got an email and I was like, what is this solicitation? Who are you? I got to protect my students. But we had a great meeting, and they told us all about their procedures and their practice, and they're top notch. They're absolutely amazing. And we have all sorts of other resources too.
And I do want to, you recently got a big designation from the National Guard. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, it's from PennGAS, Pennsylvania National Guard Associations. We received the PennGAS Guard-Friendly designation. And that is, you know, just a way of telling the world that, you know, us and other campuses and other high schools that, you know, are PennGAS Guard-Friendly schools, we are doing, you know, efforts, and we have programs and initiatives to best support and work with military members in our respective areas. So in higher ed, of course, that's stuff like academic advisement for military members, the MAC-RB, the Military Academic Credit Review Board, helping them out with their benefits, and a resource center, and just all sorts of different things that we do above the norm in order to show our military members that we're here to help, and we understand what's going on, we appreciate them.
We have a little less than a minute left, but I want you to say something out there to veterans, to students, to people that are watching that may be still on the fence. What would you tell them?
So for anybody who is second guessing any piece of potentially using their benefits, you've already earned them. You've already paid into it. They're yours. Let them work for you. Bloomsburg University has a lot of assistance. I wasn't a great student in high school, and I'm now looking at going to law school, and I didn't feel well prepared coming out of the military, but I can tell you, by the time that I was at Bloomsburg, I was ready.
And I think, Bob and Jared, I think you're excellent ambassadors for the program. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we have information on the Bloomsburg Military Center on pahomepage.com. Everything you heard here today will be on their phone numbers, websites. Give them a call. For everyone behind the scenes, I'm Jayne Ann Bugda. We thank you for making Newsmakers part of your day, and we'll talk again next time.